program. You're on live. 3, 2, 1, you're on.
All right. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Davis. Thank you to the other commissioners here tonight representing ANC and 1C. Thank you to all of you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us and your continued support of our hotel project, as well as our proposed amenity package. I do want to let you know that we have a significant amount of materials here that I think we'll be distributing throughout the evening. I don't want to get a lot of paper, and we also have a variety of organizations who we've been working with over the past couple of years who are prepared tonight to make statements, presentations, as well as distribute paper, and I'm going to be introducing some of those folks as well as making announcements on behalf of those groups that cannot attend tonight. Before we get started with the formal presentation regarding the amenities package, as Commissioner Davis alluded to, we do have some breaking news of sorts. We're very excited tonight to announce a partnership between the Sidell Group Limited and the local development team, Freeman Capital Advisors LLC. At last week's ANC Planning, Zoning, Transportation Committee meeting, we announced that Marriott will no longer be the hotel manager of the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel. We apologize for the cryptic nature of the statement read last week. At the time, we were bound by certain confidentiality provisions that prevented a full disclosure of the capitalization and the development of the project. Sidell Group is a premier owner, investor, and developer of boutique hotels throughout the United States. Sidell and its principals have been responsible for the creation of high-quality boutique hotels such as the Ace, Nomad, and Standard in New York, as well as the Saguaro hotels in Palm Springs and downtown Scottsdale. Over the past several years, Sidell has capitalized and developed hotel projects in excess of $450 million, not including the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel. The addition of Sidell signifies the economic health of this project, as well as solidifies the hotel development team. Sidell has already made a $10 million investment in the project and is committed to building the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel upon satisfactory completion of the entitlement process. The hotel project will cost over $100 million. Each of Sidell's prior projects has had special design and neighborhood considerations similar to Adams Morgan, and in each case, Sidell has worked diligently to ensure that the hotel is truly a part of the community and not just a place for out-of-towners. The most recent example of Sidell's work is the Nomad Hotel, which received critical acclaim for its design by Jacques Garcia in partnership with the restaurant operator who received the 2012 James Beard Award for the Best Chef in America. The Nomad is already considered one of New York's best boutique hotels. We expect the quality of the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel design and experience to be consistent with the Nomad. The partnership between Sidell and the local development team solidifies the viability of the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel. The local development team will continue to be the Washington, D.C. based partner and certified business enterprise, be actively involved, and communicate directly with all neighborhood stakeholders. Sidell is committed to programming the hotel, capitalizing it, and co-developing the project. The manager of the hotel has not yet been selected, but the expectation is for a high-quality boutique hotel that is custom crafted to the building and to the Adams Morgan neighborhood. The proposed hotel will be at or above the quality level of the Kimpton hotels in the district. We are so grateful for the continued support of so many members of the Adams Morgan community, in particular Councilmember Jim Graham, who has been a strident advocate for the hotel project over the years, as well as all of our partners in the PUD, many of whom are here tonight to show their ongoing support for the hotel. With that, I'd like to start more formally now the introduction of our PUD amenities package.
And this is supposed to be
Right, this is the community's meeting.
Hold it. Let's understand, hold it. Couple things. First, you want to...
Yes, I'd like to make an announcement I should have made at the beginning. If there are any limited English proficiency members, si hay alguien que habla solo español, hay una traductora simultánea. I don't know if there's anybody back here. Anybody who's who's more comfortable listening to all this in Spanish. It's a simultaneous translator and wireless headsets. So if you know anybody in the community that I may not identify, if you see anybody, please Leslie is in the back, and you can just wear a headset and be tuned into everything that's happening. So then, Marty, if you want to explain what we're going to be doing.
Mr. Matt,
Yes.
let me say, we don't want to revisit what we just revisited last week. We're here only to talk to those people who you're in partnership with, or if you're reading statements for them, just enter the statement in the record and cut away the time. We'll all take that, because that's exhausting.
I understand. We have copies of the a one-pager amenities package that I'd like to make sure we pass out.
Where?
That's what he just read.
They're going to pass those out. Thank you.
Okay, and can I get started? Okay.
But could you say who you are?
Keep in mind we have,
My name is Matt Wexler. I'm with Adams Morgan Church Hotel LLC.
and be mindful of the fact you're on a 5-minute time limit on this, and each individual one of these MOUs, because I know you have Nigel is here, he can speak for himself. We definitely don't need the reiteration of what we already know, because there are people here with new ideas that we want to hear as well.
There are also people who haven't heard what was on the list of original amendments, so if you briefly go through it, I will see a lot of
So,
Are we going to hear Gabriella's list? You've got a list.
I have a list.
Oh yeah, we're going to hear everybody's list,
Right.
but we're going to start with the ones that already been stipulated that you identified last week.
okay. Thanks. Okay, the first amenity is the preservation and restoration of the First Church of Christ Scientist building, and I'm reading this on behalf of the First Church of Christ Scientist. The most outstanding amenity and public benefit of this proposal is the preservation and restoration of the First Church of Christ Scientist building located at 1770 Euclid Street, an outcome specifically called for in the comprehensive plan. In addition to the comprehensive plan, the zoning regulations provide that the preservation of historic buildings or places is considered to be an amenity and benefit of the PUD process. The proposed reuse of the church building meets the First Church of Christ Scientist's objective to have the church building used in a manner approved by the congregation, and so that the congregation can be certain that the use will thrive and be economically sustainable for the next 100 years. The church's leaders believe the use of the church building is even more important to them than simply preserving the structure, and so this responds to their community-driven request. Among other ways, Adams Morgan residents will benefit from having this beautiful building returned to the public use, a space again to meet and congregate, as well as to enjoy the area surrounding the building, with the fence separating the building from the community completely removed. The church building will effectively...
Easy.
The church building will effectively become the largest public non-grocery building in Adams Morgan. The next amenity is the Adams Morgan Community Center. And I'm going to invite, after a brief statement that I make, former Commissioner Brian Weaver to come up and speak.
Fair enough.
The hotel developers propose to contribute space within the hotel for approximately 4,000 square foot Adams Morgan Community Center. The Community Center will serve as an important community meeting and working place for many of the neighborhood's community groups and nonprofit organizations. The Adams Morgan Youth Leadership Academy will be headquartered in the community center and will manage the space. Other community associations such as this ANC1C, the Reed Cook Neighborhood Association, the Lanier Citizens Association, the Adams Morgan Business Improvement District will be provided meeting and office space, plus it's used for special programs or annual meetings. The Adams Morgan Community Center will feature a flexible meeting function room, a breakout conference room, bathrooms, a computer center, and a session exhibiting the cultural history of Adams Morgan. The community center will be secured space that will have filing and storage services for community groups and ANC1C. This permanent dedicated community center is a contribution valued at $1.8 million. Now, as early as 2008, the hotel developers promised to make the Adams Morgan Community Center a centerpiece of its amenities package, including it in submissions to the Historic Preservation Review Board for its concept review in 2008. based on specific requests for this amenity by several neighborhood leaders, including then ANC 1C Chair Brian Weaver. The Adams Morgan Community Center will benefit Adams Morgan residents by being the largest such space in the neighborhood, available free of charge, providing meeting and office space to numerous organizations. Instead of ANC 1C having to rent out space for meetings, it could use the Adams Morgan Community Center. Nonprofits and community organizations can share the office space, allowing for unique partnerships and collaborations. Brian, I'd love for you to say a word or two.
Brian, you have 2 minutes, because I think you said most of the nuts and bolts of that. That's
17 minutes, come on.
He's only been on 4
We
minutes.
started at 7 o'clock.
So I'll just give a quick wrap up.
Please.
So in 2003, under the first project, there was which was a condo and apartment building development. One of the first things that we talked about was all of the places that were going to be displaced. And those were Katie Davis's Urban Rangers program, Men Can Stop Rape, which was located in the City Paper building, and the old Good Shepherd Youth Ministries program, which is now defunct. The idea behind it was, what is a way to, like, if we're going to remove all of these nonprofits, what's a way that we're able to sort of retain them in the community? So when the hotel development came forward, we really pushed for that and ways to try to retain because we've had a great sort of set of small nonprofits that have been able to stay in Adams Morgan, but as the rents have gone up, they've all had to go away. And so this was a way for us to try to retain a lot of those nonprofits, to create an incubator space and a community meeting space that was essentially based around the old Adams Morgan Community Center idea, which was have a place where we could have group meetings that people could come to. This was something that was not designed around the ANCs. This was something that was far more sort of designed around the community. And the reason that I pushed for it to be put as part of the tax abatement was that if, let's say, Matt and Brian go away tomorrow, for the next 20 years, contingent on that tax abatement is if they need to provide that community space, and if they do not provide that community space, the tax abatement goes away. And that was the rationale behind putting it into the tax abatement, along with the clawbacks and the hiring programs for people in the community.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
All right, you recommended for that.
We'll continue trying to speed this along. So
Yes.
the third key amenity in our PUD benefits package is the alley easement. I want to make sure, does everybody have that one pager? Yes, I hope. Okay. The hotel developers will create and grant a public easement that will realign the alley between Champlain Street and 18th Street in order to provide a smoother flow of vehicles and improve neighborhood traffic patterns. The easement, totaling an area that will take approximately 1,680 square feet, will be near the area of the loading dock on the western edge of the property. This easement will allow vehicles to pass under a cantilever formed by the hotel, and the resulting realignment will effectively straighten and widen the existing alley, allowing smoother flow for trucks, many of which cannot pass through the alley in its current configuration. Several years ago, the hotel developers were asked by ANC commissioners, including Alan Roth, Brian Weaver, and Minnie Moretti, to consider improving the alley as part of the project's amenity package. Others who recommended this were the adjacent property owners, both commercial and residential, as well as the leaders of the Reed Cook Neighborhood Association and Adams Morgan Main Street. The alley easement will benefit Adams Morgan residents in several important ways. First, it will enable garbage and delivery trucks to pass through the alley in a much easier and safer manner than they do today, limiting the number of such trucks that idle and sit along 18th Street. Alley garbage collection will also become more regular, and rodent activity and criminal activity in the alley should be reduced. I asked Lisa DePirio, who was involved with this alley easement project from a number of years ago, to also make a very brief statement about the history of this benefit.
You don't need we all know where we're going with the alley. We're very comfortable that you put it in, everybody can read it and make judgments about it for themselves. We thank you, and we know where Lisa is on this one. Now, can we move on to the other describers? We're out of your 5 minutes, but I want Nigel has to speak, and I know you have other MOUs.
Commissioner Davis, Frank, we've been working on this amenities package with the community for years, and this has been our first opportunity to present in its entirety to the community. I think the community deserves to hear the amenities package.
Let me stop you right now. We just heard this a week ago. In all honesty, We had hysterics over it last week. The alley easement alone was enough to carry on for 2 weeks. We know it, recognize it, it's part of the package. We all go for it in terms of what you've said. We've got it, it's here. What we do need is to speak to job training, because this is important. Job training, the hospitality program. I'd like to know what they're going to do, where's the implementation plan. Those are the things I'd like to see. Those are the things I know something about.
Okay.
And I'd like to see those things brought forward, or see what they need in a way of help from us in order to present it.
Okay. The Department of Parks and Recreation wanted to make a brief statement regarding Unity Park. I have that statement and I can distribute that later, but I wanted it before we move on to Amila just to mention just a few quick words about Unity Park, which I think everybody knows is across Euclid Street at the front entrance of the church. It was actually donated to the city by the First Church of Christ Scientists in the early 20th century. The hotel developers, with the encouragement of the DC Department of Parks and Recreation and the Office on Latino Affairs, will develop ideas for improving and maintaining Unity Park. And we will involve the public and surrounding neighbors in the design process through a community charrette. The commitment is to fund and maintain the park in perpetuity, and the Unity Park beautification and perpetual maintenance amenity is valued at over $1 million. I want everybody to know that at various times over the past several years, the hotel developers have been asked by ANC commissioners and other community leaders if they would agree to improve Unity Park as part of their amenities package. Thanks. One of the goals of the Department of Parks and Recreation is to make the park more green. The entire Adams Morgan community will benefit from the Unity Park beautification and perpetual maintenance with an improved park at the geographic center of the neighborhood.
No, again, let me say one last time, this is not a referendum on the amenities. This is only to make sure people know what's already been put on the table, and you've done a nice job of laying it out on paper. And now we'd like to talk to some of the people about one of the most unique facets.
Absolutely. So I've invited Nigel to come share with you more details about our proposed partnership with the Adams Morgan Youth Leadership Academy.
This seat for the speaker, could anybody want to share so he can, I know you're young, but if you want to sit.
Oh yeah, I can see. It's a conversation. Thank you. Did I also call Ms. Keisha Lee up? Keisha's going to come and
Sure, absolutely.
for any community members who may be hearing impaired, Keisha Lee has aspirations to become a sign language interpreter, and so she's going to assist us with that. Commissioner Davis, how long do we have?
Push it back. We have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We're pushing tables back, so your clock can go on a table. All right, come forward, my children. Now, all right, come forward. Let me hear you. Let me feel you.
Is that good or no?
And are you doing the signing? We have both again. For those, we have both translation services and hearing impaired services tonight. We want to thank you for bringing that forward. Thank you.
Keisha, can she introduce herself, please?
How you doing, everyone? My name is Keisha Lee. Got everyone ready. Nice to meet everyone.
Classy. All right. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, particularly those who usually don't come to community meetings such as this. We really appreciate your support, and I just wanted you guys to hear that. We have a written statement that I'd like to read. And
don't read it in its entirety. You need to speak from your heart. You've been in this community and heard you speak.
Yes.
So just go ahead and speak. Tell us what you're going to do, what help you may need in getting it done.
Yes.
All right? Okay. Because we happen to know how many young people live in the Adams Morgan community and in Ward 1. Absolutely. So we want to be able to get a feeling from you. You have a large responsibility.
Absolutely.
If this doesn't work, because we're going to have to hold you accountable. Along with the development. You need to know that. That's my tax money.
No
boss.
pressure.
No
It's been
pressure.
happening for years.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
We've been here before.
all right.
Okay, so I actually like to read our statement that has a lot of good questions there.
All right, you free to do that. Go
Thank you
ahead.
so much. Dear members of the Adams Morgan community, thank you for the opportunity to share the workforce leadership component of our program, our work in the Adams Morgan community, and the chance to highlight our long-term partnership with the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel. My name is Nigel Akunaby, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Adams Morgan Youth Leadership Academy, affectionately known as AMILA, a 501c3 tax-exempt organization located at 1782 here in Adams Morgan, 1782 Columbia Road here in Adams Morgan. As we move forward with our partnership with the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel, we'd like to highlight the long-term sustainability that this partnership offers to our organization and the many benefits to hundreds of youth and adults here in Adams Morgan, in Ward 1, and the District of Columbia. After almost 4 years of partnership, the local developers of the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel and AMILA signed a several-page, comprehensive MOU that will most notably provide office space for AMILA and a place to host our workforce development trainings at $1 per year over the next 20 years, a permanent home. Be responsible for placing a minimum of 125 of the estimated 565 full-time employment opportunities in the hotel. Help sustain AMILA from donations received from every occupied room in the hotel for at least the next 20 years. You guys can clap to that if you like. We believe that this memorandum of understanding has the potential to set a new precedent for public-private partnerships in our community, in our ward, and across the District of Columbia. Since beginning our grassroots initiative a little over 5 years ago, AMILA has established ourselves as one of the most effective youth programs in the Adams Morgan community. Our programs serve as the medium in which youth are supported in graduating high school, obtaining their GEDs, enrolling into college, providing summer internships, and career opportunities. Through AMILA, Adams Morgan area youth have served hundreds of hours of community service, been introduced to leadership at the community, local, and federal government levels, met mentors who have helped shape and transform their lives. Some have started their own businesses. Some have obtained their passports and traveled to places such as West Virginia, Aspen, Colorado, we're not done yet, New Mexico, Guatemala, Haiti, and Israel. Through AMILA,
Easy.
in fact, I'd like to acknowledge Samal Ben Israel, who's been responsible for our pilgrimages to Israel. This summer, AMILA celebrates our 5th year of service to our Adams Morgan community. Youth who were among the first to be nominated to our program will be attending college in the fall. We're thrilled about the many employment opportunities that will await Adams Morgan and Ward 1 area youth when returning during holiday breaks or summers, and the long-term employment opportunities for those who wish to enter the hospitality industry upon college graduation 4, 6, or 10 years from now. As founder and executive director of AMILA, I intimately share this reality. As a teenager growing up in Jubilee housing, I earned my first employment opportunity here in Adams Morgan at Common Liquor and Deli, formerly located at 1815 Columbia Road. Some of you may recall it was a very popular, community-oriented liquor and deli shop that almost exclusively hired from within the community. The late owners, Mr. and Mrs. Sid Drazen, epitomized community and will be proud of the continuation of their legacy through AMILA's Workforce Leadership Program in partnership with the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel. Another objective of AMILA is to develop a strategy to transform the youth culture in Adams Morgan. As a third-generation resident of Jubilee Housing here in Adams Morgan, I could not help but to think of the trajectories of dozens of Adams Morgan area youth who fell victim to violence and long-term incarceration. Many of them were my childhood friends and family members of the youth we've had the privilege of serving. I often think about how their lives could have been positively impacted if opportunities like the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel existed a decade ago. We are now less than a few months away from potentially breaking ground on a project that could permanently transform the youth culture of Adams Morgan, serve as a major part of the solution that then ANC Chair, Commissioner Weaver, so vehemently challenged the developers to come up with 5 years ago. To date, we've followed protocol. We have worked closely with the ANC-1C on various recycling projects and community grants. We've worked with the Kalorama Citizens Association, who graciously donated about 20 bikes to Adams Morgan area youth. We've worked with the Recook Neighborhood Association, who provided our first of 4 office spaces and helped develop our first website. In addition, Amila has partnered with the Adams Morgan Partnership Business Improvement District, who annually assist Amila with securing internship opportunities in the local Adams Morgan area businesses. These partnerships and summer internships have included the Diner, City Bikes, Rita's Italian Ice, the Washington City Paper, College Summit, Maggie Moo's Ice Cream's Treatery, the Patricia M. Sitar Center, Jubilee Housing, Shake Your Booty, Hoops Sagrado, H.D. Cook Elementary School, and last but not least, the Big. You guys can clap if you like. Amala's board, staff, volunteers, youth, families, and community partnerships epitomize community. We've earned the respect of the developers and each of the aforementioned civic associations and businesses, as evidenced by their collective glowing letters of support. Last page, guys. All right. We ask that the Adams Morgan community who have not experienced Amala give us the opportunity to earn yours as well by moving this project forward so that many of the lives here in this room and for generations to come can move forward as well. Thank you.
My informal conversations with people in the community suggested you're a viable organization, and certainly the youth out here attest to that. However, you've taken on a very large responsibility in partnership with others about job training in a field that's very difficult. When you talk about the hospitality field, and you talk about unions, when you talk about construction, I give you 40 years of battling with unions, contractors, and corporate management to get people of color and children in those positions. Now, what I'm going to ask you,
Yes, sir.
in front of everybody here, because we're not voting up and down on these amenities, I would like to see an operational plan from you.
Absolutely.
Between now and the 1st of September is how you're going to do phase 1.
Gotcha.
That's the recruitment of the young people. I want to see names, I want to see addresses, and I want to see methodology. That's a standard. That's a standard of how you make change in a community.
Yes.
And you bring that back to us, share it here in our meeting in late September, because we're outside of politics. We're into trying to get things done. This is a union man here, sitting right here at the table. One of your commissioners is a union man. This is a young lady with the entire Latino business community. So you've got resources here.
Yes.
And your chairman over here is in City Hall. So you have no business not giving us a plan that we can post and let the rest of the community make judgments and even bring you some help. Because if the project goes through, I want every one of these young people to get a benefit.
Absolutely.
They have got to get a benefit out.
Absolutely.
And it's not good. It's not for you. It's for them. Yeah, I know you get an office and all of that, but it's for them.
Absolutely.
These kids have been shortchanged over the years.
Absolutely.
So that's all we want. So you know what we want on the 1st of September. Our meeting is somewhere around the 7th, 8th of September, that Wednesday, the 4th Wednesday in the month. So you got to the end of September. So we give you a break. But give us back a plan.
Yes, sir.
So people can deal with it.
Absolutely.
All right, that's all. We're not doing any conversation about anything else. Any other commissioners, you have anything you want to say?
Can you say about the plan again, what you wanted within that plan? As
In
far
the
as
first, yeah, it's an implementation plan. When you do minority hiring, young people hiring is a challenge. Who are you going to talk to? How are you going to recruit the young people? What are the standards? You're going to have to get part of those hiring standards from the developer and the other people. You're going to have to get those, and you're going to have to spend some time with resource people that can help you do it. Because if it's a no good plan, you will not have any success. And we will not let a fake plan will not work.
How about a living wage?
Oh, all of that will be involved.
I'd love to work with a young man. I'm a game field. I'd love to talk to him.
There you are. You got a lot of people. See people here who can help you fashion that plan.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Nigel.
All right. All right. Amla's finished. So now, all you want to go out and hang out, go ahead. Or you can, a mile.
So I wanted to make sure that Tina Brown from Youth Build was here to introduce herself and talk to everybody also about the partnership that the hotel has with Sasha Booth Youth Workers.
Along the same lines as this young man says, we do workforce development training. Most of our young people are in Ward 7 and 8, and I have been very successful getting my young people of color, young people who have backgrounds, criminal backgrounds, getting them hired because they are trained properly, they go to work on time, they work hard, and they work diligently. So if this young man needs assistance in training young people, I'm of service to you.
I'm going to recommend that the two of you get together. I was a principal of a high school here and had a lot of Sasha Bruce kids. So I know all about your construction trade in particular. I've been out on the work site. So I definitely want two of you to work together, come back to this community with a plan. They need a plan. So this community needs to see a plan. It's on you, man.
Thank you so much.
It's a formal letter, but it's entirely too hot to read. I'm not
don't bother to read all.
you all. But in regards to creating a partnership, we've done
I
that.
think they can turn the air conditioning back on.
Beg your pardon, say what again?
Very, very quick question.
Please.
From the representative from Sasha Bruce, you said that you focus, most of your the kids that you're working with are in Ward 7 and 8. Ward 1, I mean, when you put your plan together, could you place your emphasis on Ward 1? Because this is what I mean. Yeah.
It has to. The pecking order is Adams Morgan, Ward 1, citywide. That's how we're going to look at it. That's why we want to address this with your target audience, because we want to be able to do it in the right way.
Right, so I asked Tina, who also lives in Adams Morgan, to come to share a statement that Sasha Booth Youth Build also wanted to give to the community.
And this statement is from Jim Beck. He's the Director of Development, and so it gives a better perception of what Youth Build does. Dear members of the Adams Morgan community, thank you for the opportunity to present to you again a bit of our workforce development program, Youth Build, and to describe the positive impacts and benefits of our partnership with the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel will provide to the young people we serve, the Adams Morgan neighborhood, and the District of Columbia as a whole. Through a series of district and federal contracts, as well as local, private sector support, Sasha Bruce Youth Work has operated our Youth Build program for nearly 15 years. Primary participants are disconnected youth who are ages 16 to 24. These young people are high school dropouts and they are unemployed. Our target area has traditionally been all sections of the district, with the greatest concentrations of residents who live in poverty, highest rates of crime, least health and social services, and the lowest quality of housing. Our Youth Build program combines education towards a GED and beyond, civic engagement and employment training, that's what I do, and it prepares young adults to fill positions in high-demand occupations in the region, thus contributing to the growth of the local economy. We have a special emphasis on occupational training focused on those skills required for success in the construction industry. Participants in our Youth Build program achieve significant increases in their independence and economic empowerment. Each Youth Build graduate, and there are usually about 50 each year, are ready to work and they are available to work in this region. like I said, the lion's share of our trainees live in Ward 8, but our organization has worked with students in Adams Morgan and Ward 1. We are delighted about our agreement with the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel, as it will give new mentorship and internship opportunities to young adults for whom many job markets seem inaccessible. With an employment rate of roughly 33% east of the river, opportunities like the ones that the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel has committed to do are extremely rare. Our goal will be to offer occupational skills training that prepares youth for career placement. All of the young people in our Youth Build program are tested routinely for drug abuse, and a condition of participation in the program is preparing and executing community improvement service events. We would be delighted to encourage participants in the hotel project to plan events in concert with local residents and businesses, which will benefit the Adams Morgan community. I hope that you share our enthusiasm for offering this project as a way for disconnected youth who have committed to improving their lives and the social conditions of the communities where they live and learn, gain hands-on experience with substantial renovation and new construction. Please don't hesitate to contact him for any reason. James Beck.
Okay,
all right.
well, thank you. I know one thing, we've all lived in Washington too long. We read statements in their entirety.
Thank you.
And years on the Hill finished me off for that. So, if I can get everybody who's going, you don't have to read the statement, just leave us the statement. We will put it in the record.
Right.
It goes in the record, and I would assume the developer will take that downtown with him, and we will have a copy of it record here. But we want to hear from your heart. If you got to speak, we'd like to hear you in your heart. Leave the record with us.
I've also asked Mike Cucciardo from the Hospitality High School, Washington, to come make a brief statement regarding our partnership with HHS regarding internship and job opportunities to high school students and alumni of HHS opportunities in the hospitality sector. So, Mike, please
I promise you I'm not going to read from this, and I'll take less than 2 minutes.
That's
2.5 at the most.
We like that. Moving that along. Good.
My name is Mike Cucciardo. I'm the hospitality administrator at the Hospitality High School. We've been in existence since 1998, and we focus on training students for careers in the industry. We have an excellent track record. We have a 92% graduation rate, which is almost double the DC public school system. A 92% graduation rate. 82% of our students go on to college. 50% of those actually get jobs in the industry. We provide scholarship money and certification training. For the second year in a row, all of our graduates either have gone on to college and or received scholarship money and have an industry recognized certification. That's either through culinary arts, ServSafe, lodging management program, customer service. We're excited about partnering with the organization, especially with the Milo, because we feel we could bring our resources and expertise to assist them. We can identify part-time and full-time candidates because our students come from all over the city, all wards. We will work with them on, I'm a certified proctor trainer in both ServSafe and lodging management. We'll do certification exams, proctor exams for them, help them identify potential interns, even set up internships. We have a very strong partnership with the hospitality industry in the city, Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, to name a few. So there's plenty of pipeline opportunities. The bottom line is our partnership in here benefits our organization, allows us to provide our expertise to assist a Mile in doing theirs, and it's a pipeline for future opportunities for Ward 1 residents.
Good. We'll need a plan for you by December. We'll need a plan.
Together.
All right, we'll need a plan. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's good.
I was asked to read a statement, but I won't, from Angela Franco, the president of the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have a partnership with GWHCC to provide job placement for Latinos and also Latino-owned contractors and suppliers. The hotel will partner with the GWHCC to promote job placement for Latinos and Latino-owned contractors and suppliers. The hotel is also committed to having a job diversity program with annual measurements and assessments. Angela also told me to let everybody know that she's more than welcome to take any phone calls regarding our partnership and the work that her organization does.
Oh yeah. Can I clarify? I just want to make it public. I work as a consultant for the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation. I don't work for the chamber. I'm not an employee of the chamber or the foundation, and I have not negotiated any of the details of that MOU that was done last year. As a matter of fact, by the president of the chamber and the hotel. They approached them on their own initiative, and I commend them for that. From what I understand, it will be job fairs and fairs for contractors and for people to have opportunities to bid for projects or to work with the hotel. It's not a promise of any jobs for anybody. And I have never met privately to negotiate anything with the hotel developers. The community amenities package and the opportunity to do so starts now. It started last week. I have never met with them
Thank you.
since I've been an agency commissioner.
And if I may add one brief word, Commissioner Mossy, our partnership with the Greater Washington Hispanic Chambers, that initiative came from several members of the Latino community in Adams Morgan who told us, Matt, Bryan, go talk to GWHCC. They're the best group in town in dealing with Latino employees and Latino contractors and suppliers. So that came from people in the community. I want to just make mention of a couple of other brief amenities. LEED certification, we're having a bike share station, we're providing electric vehicle charging stations. We also are going to have an electric powered hotel van. Any vehicle that's associated with the hotel will be electric powered. And I think, as everybody knows, we've stated this for many, many months, and I know we're really excited to work with the community and talk with the community and all of you about additional amenities that we can provide to the community. We do believe that our amenities package, that I think has been indicated tonight, is very, very significant, and I hope that everybody here appreciates the fact that for multiple years now, we've spent a significant amount of time and energy in working with all aspects of the community on a benefits package that we think will really make a difference here in Adams Morgan. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you tonight.
We're going to actually move, if there's, the hotel developers portion of the program is over. We will now listen to the community who may have ideas, concepts, and the like they would like to see in Adams Morgan related to the development of this hotel, pursuant to how the law actually reads. So we want to have that happen. So those who have ideas, we're willing. You get 5 minutes. If you have a written statement, please don't read the whole statement. Give us a capsule.
Can I ask clarification? Are we talking about the amenities package for the tax abatement only?
No, that you just heard those. Those are tax abatement related.
So now we're moving forward with the amenities.
Moving forward, these are amenities we feel we have had nothing more than advisory rules. We feel that there is an opportunity for the community to bring forward new amenities that it would like to see added to the package of things that the developer would have to be responsible for in the future. These are new things. Our feeling is, in reading of the law, and this is our reading of the law with an advisory opinion, no one here is a judge, but the reading of the law says no hotel gets built unless we train young people and put them to work. No hotel gets built unless the developer agrees to that. That's a quid pro quo. That's fine. We see nothing wrong with that. However, there are other things in this community. Everything from things for young people to things for senior citizens that need to be looked at. And if anybody has any ideas, this is the point in time where we're looking at them. And I'll take them in order. I'll take Michelle first over here, and want to thank the developers again. Thank you all. Yeah, we want to take a seat. Yeah, you have 5 minutes and 4 minutes. All right. All right. We have enough reasons. How many students are there out there? We'll do the math. How many people have signed up to the speakers? I know you have. If somebody would hand me the speakers the list. We may have to cut everybody back to 3 minutes. But we are. Pardon?
Well, I think quite a few people had no idea
what
the list was for.
Here's a big explicit list and sign away. All right, and
Yeah, we're passing the list around, but we'll.
List is
we'll go in
coming
order.
around on the clipboard.
Please take it brief.
So those statements from,
Yeah, there was a student that's now being concerned.
We'll get it to.
We'll get it to you.
I can email everything.
Great.
All right. Introduce yourself and please tell us where you're from. Yeah, your address and your ANC. Commissioner, 3 minutes. We're giving you 3 minutes. All right, 3 minutes. They had a lot of people bundled in there.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I live in ANC 1C, which is basically the section of our ANC where the hotel will be. I live down the street from where the hotel will be built. I live down the street from where the hotel will be built. I will be impacted. I just want to say I'm not in support of it. The best amenity that there could be for me would be no hotel.
All right.
But because there's little community control over this process, the one thing that does concern me and that I would like to see addressed in a meaningful way is that we're discussing a lot about job programs for neighborhood youth. And what I see with this kind of development in the neighborhood is that we won't have affordable housing in this neighborhood. We won't have these youth that we're here to help in this neighborhood when we get big development projects like this. Property taxes go up. So I would like to know what the developers can do to address issues of affordable housing and workforce housing.
This is only.
It's an amenity. You can
But it's an
provide that
amenity.
as an amenity.
But you can ask for.
But I don't know the specifics, Marty. So I'm just saying I would like to see something put on the table by the developers to address workforce housing, affordable housing in the
All right, I think some other people are carrying that same order in here, and so we'll have a written statement from someone on the subject of affordable housing. It's certainly in our vision.
I think it's very important.
Good idea.
So
Good idea. No question about it.
I don't necessarily appreciate being cut off to ask for that because I think that's
But
important.
we're going to try to go by the rule.
benefit.
The rule was specific. This is amenities only. And it's new ideas for amenities. Now you said housing, we hear you. We would love for you to actually give us a 1 page of your thought. Are you talking about middle income housing?
But Marty, you have to understand, and you're saying this to me. It's very hard to discuss something when you feel that it's not a good idea in the first place. It's very hard. So you have to understand where I'm coming from with this, and I think that that's important. So I've said my amenity. I just would have appreciated being able to put it out there without interruption.
Duly noted. The chair duly notes it, and.
Okay, fine.
But the chair would caution you again to actually, support one and submit one on the subject because it's a good one. No one believes it's not. We've had some great conversations about the need for affordable housing in this community.
We have a chair here if somebody needs it.
All right. Next person on the list, Pat. And if you can get the list back.
Okay, so it's actually a bit much to expect people to produce amenities on a multi-million-dollar hotel in a 3-minute speech.
We can't hear you.
It's a bit much to expect us as neighbors to produce an amenity request in 3 minutes on a multi-million-dollar project.
100 million.
It's 150 and it goes to 200 depending on who's paying, but I'm going to tell you an idea that I've seen. First of all, I have no financial interest, direct or indirect, in what I'm going to propose to you. This is an idea that I saw working in San Francisco very well. We've had a lot of talk tonight about training people for jobs. The reality is the jobs aren't there. We all wish all these types of organizations the very best of luck and we support you 100%, but we also have to focus on creating jobs. So I'm going to give you an idea and then I'm going to give you an example of it working in San Francisco and then I'm going to talk about it in our community. The idea is a simple one. If you wanted to start a food business tomorrow morning, you have to go and get a commercial kitchen completely fully regulated. That's a very high capital cost and most people don't even start. What they did in San Francisco was They created a kitchen and then rented the time in the kitchen per hour or per month to people in the community who wanted to start food businesses. So I'm going to show you a quick video because the developer has had a full 50 minutes to present his case.
Pat, you've got 3 minutes. We can gladly put it up on the website.
This is.
Put it on our website.
We'll put it on the website.
Do you want to watch the video or no? Okay. So what we're doing when we decide to ascend to this hotel is like a once in a lifetime. In fact, it's one in a multiple lifetimes decision. Once we say yes, then that's it. This will never be renegotiated again. So there's a rule: you don't sell land to pay the electricity bill. So we've got to take this capital decision and invest it in capital. And what I'm proposing is a kitchen incubator that would be inside the hotel. And people could then come and they could rent time in the incubator. The incubator would also have teach you how to write business plans and get your business off the ground. And each year, a graduating class would come out of that incubator. The one in California has 30. So each year, 30 of you, me, other people in our neighborhood would start businesses and they would go out into the community. Next year, 30 more. The impact on jobs, employment, taxes is compounded because there's 30 new businesses going out into the community every year. The numbers. The one in San Francisco, it's 4,400 square feet. It cost $1 million. The budget each year is $1.3 million. They make $1.1 million, and they get $500,000 from grants. So I think that this would be a useful amenity for us to ask. I think it also works very well with the developers, and here's why. The businesses that would go in there to start food businesses, whether it's yours, mine, or people who aren't even here, they could help the developer by creating this very unique foodie type of environment around the hotel. The food products could be sold in a hotel shop. It could be sold in the fridges in the rooms. It could be sold in room service. These businesses would then grow in our community and stay. The overwhelming number of Fortune 500 companies are still in the neighborhood where they were founded. So if we encourage businesses to establish in our neighborhood, the odds are that they will stay here. A study of 100 cities looking at what helps cities develop found that tax breaks and tax abatements never work. The hotels and the businesses stay until the tax abatement is gone. Then it's on a level playing field and they realize that they're not competitive and they leave. It's happened in 100 cities around the United States. What works is a cluster development. This kitchen would be part of an overall plan for Adams Morgan, which would make it a food district, where we would focus on Adams Morgan being a center for high-end food restaurants, where all these graduates from this incubator would start filling the restaurants around Adams Morgan with high-end food products. This would produce jobs for your people. It would improve the quality of life for all of us, and it would solve the problem of antisocial behavior coming from low-end business. That's my proposal.
What's the name of that program in San Francisco?
La Cocina. I have
there are copies of it here available. Deborah Saxon.
I'm with you.
All right. Oh, you have to. Yeah, Deborah. Thank you. All right.
Well, we're on the list.
You're on the list.
I'm on the list.
Okay. And Josh Gibson.
Yep. Ready for me now?
We're ready for you.
Okay. I'm Josh Gibson. I'm a strong supporter of the project. I think the amenities package is already very strong and very generous, but our chair has asked us to brainstorm new ideas, so I wanted to throw a few out there. One was opposite the hotel site on the city bikes and former Ben & Jerry's building. There's a mural of cows riding bikes eating ice cream. That mural is in sad shape. Adams Morgan, one of our most prominent destination assets to get people to come to the community are our murals. A number of them have been renovated. That one's in sad shape. The hotel guests are going to look out the window at it, so it's a no-brainer to put some money into reinvesting in that. Second is, I don't know if any other cash to neighborhood nonprofits is going to come out of the negotiating process. If it does, what I'd like to see it, like to see done was to see that cash placed in some sort of a community pool where the community, some group of community elders, community leaders can decide where that money goes in the neighborhood. I'm grateful that Nigel's group is playing a strong role. But if any additional money is going to be spent in the neighborhood, it'd be great if that money came out of the hotel fees, but then we decided internally where we need that at the time. And finally, I'm grateful to the developers. The last meeting, the concern was raised about the lack of translation. This meeting is, I'm not sure if anyone's taking advantage of it, but is available for simultaneous translation. I think particularly given the even larger role that the Latino community and business community are going to play, as we've heard, I would hope that the ANC and other groups would do simultaneous translation. And that's something that possibly as part of the office space provision might be included in the amenities package. Because I think it's a vital resource. It's a way of bringing half our community in that hasn't been involved before.
Doug, could we have what you just said in writing at some point? Or just the 3 bullet
email.
points?
Sure.
Yeah, at your leisure. Reminder again to young people, we have a lot of older people standing. So if you please want to give up your seats, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. I know everybody's involved in civic engagement, but sometimes people need to sit down. But get mine up, you can make mine. Yeah, I can stand, I can stand. So we have people who adults need to sit, the older adults need to sit. Lucy Barbo.
I think my idea goes right after Josh. I live in Stacy's district. I never remember the numbers. So at the base of Adams Morgan, so I'm afraid I'm nowhere near as affected as Michelle. But I like the concept of the hotel, but actually my first passion is the Mount Pleasant Library. So that's why I think it sort of bounces off of Josh's idea. I would want the library to get some extra money out of this because, as all of you know, our libraries in the district, there's only one library that's only open on the Sunday. It would be great if we could get another library in Ward 1 open with more hours, but I'm going to go off of Josh's idea. It might be one of those things that's better if we had a way to create a community fund that,
community chest.
Yeah, that would fund what was necessary each year or think about it. And so I may have my pet project, but I can recognize that there are others in the
Well, the community chest is the overarching project. Let's put bullet points under it when you send it back to us.
Yes,
as I said, this is just step one.
It's the closest one to the.
Yes, tonight there are no bad ideas. So
Yeah, well, I mean closest. Yes, from where
Okay.
the
All
hotel
right.
would be and
All right.
important for the community. I'd love to have
Okay.
one here, but we don't. Yeah.
okay. Amita Kareem.
Hi everyone.
I know. But
My name is
All
Mira
right.
Kareem. I am a part of Amila. I started when I was 14. And I am what you may call a success story from Amila. It has molded me into the person I am today. Right now, I am interning for WMATA's headquarters downtown in the Office of Emergency Management. And I've learned so much being a part of this program. And I just want to say that this project could help make it reach new heights.
We're not here.
And I'm
to
just saying- I'm
we've
just
already
saying-
heard and we like what we've heard.
I understand that.
All right.
Both voicing my opinion. I just wanted you to understand that Amila has done so much for this community.
That's
So I'm just telling you that.
All right.
And that's all.
Tonight is about the community.
Do you have an idea?
If you
for
have other
community?
ideas, pay very close attention. This is about new ideas. Love the lady
Yeah, I just
success.
wanted to say
Good,
that.
good, but we know there's success stories.
Anita.
And that's the reporter in here talking to, so you're in good shape. All right. Okay. Bonnie Roberts Burke. Hi.
I live in the neighborhood. I'm also a strong supporter of the hotel. I think the amenities package that I heard here tonight is really very impressive. I also concur with Josh's idea. I was hoping for something in terms of neighborhood beautification, the idea of cleanup in the neighborhood. So I think the idea of a community chest is a marvelous idea. But I do think that the benefits package that I heard tonight was far more than I had expected or heard in the past. So I thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Yuri Blaze, because I'm going to ruin the last name. Blazer. Good. Got it. Okay.
I'm a junior.
By the way.
industry.
Could you speak up?
Sure. And I'm a strong supporter of the hotel. Thank you so much. Act as an anchor.
Right, this, no testimonies to the hotel. Should we drop that in the opening statement? Let it go. If you were in the court of law, just simply tell you no. You know, you're out of order. Go ahead.
In any event, I do think the amenity package that is on the table is very strong. I mean,
Would you have an idea, a new idea for Adams Morgan?
Please finish.
Okay, please.
Okay. At an estimate of $100 million all in to facilitate this project. Right now, not counting the renovation of the historic church structure, we're at about $3.4 million. That's about 3% of the entire project. To me, that's very significant. And I'm not sure what else there is on the table. I've heard some very good ideas, but at what point do we have to balance the economic viability of the hotel with the amenities package? We'd all love for every nonprofit and every beautification effort to be funded, but there's
All right,
reality.
please. No testimony. Okay, we hear you. We hear you. Okay, we hear you.
Okay, still got time.
Okay. All right. This is for Chris. All right. Carol Cabot.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carl A. Originally from Liberia, West Africa, came to Adams Morgan since 1985, so I've been here for quite a long time, 2233 18th Street. I was excited to be in this community, the Adams Morgan community, because it gave people of color a different perspective in the American society. And when one of the community's organizations that I was a part of, Good Shepherd, like we all was a part of, dissolved when the Mila came in through Nigel, we imagined the opportunity to create systems. So not too long ago, I was able to work with a company last Thursday. I was in Asheville, North Carolina. And the idea that I love with this company, it takes a desolate area, such like my own Liberia, which has been at war for the last 20 years. It takes a desolate area and turn it into what we Bethesda, okay? So I suggested to them what we was doing at Adams Morgan, some of the obstacles we was facing, and the opportunity to create wealth and train our youth through creating systems. Some of these ideas, and I also was able to get a letter of intent signed with them. But some of these, just to name a few. Some of these ideas: facility, support services, construction, information technology, queuing system, fabrication, manufacturing, workforce staffing, architecture, engineering, business consulting, development, security. It's a whole list of them. But the concept and the idea is, what they're willing to do is to come into DC, partner with the MILA, start to begin negotiating and training our youth, give them a foreign exchange program where we can bring youth from Liberia to America, give our youth the opportunity to go see another country while they help train and develop these skills, bring these talents and tools back to the city, back to this area, where they can create, coupled with the gentleman said about San Francisco, they can create wealth, not through looking from the hotel to finance it or government officials, but through their own entrepreneurial skills and spirit. So I look forward to sharing that idea more in more details with the developer as well as Mr. Kunaby.
All right. Ashley.
I'm kind of new to the community, but
Actually, you're going to have to speak up.
okay, I wanted to echo what Kroll just said. I worked in nonprofits for the past few years. I worked at a local level, national, and international. And actually, what he's saying is the best way to do community work. If you're too prescriptive on the outset, and somebody from the outside is just telling everybody what to do, and you set too many goals at the outset, then you're not going to really be able to access the community in the right way. The best way to do it is to partner with a local leader like Amila and empower them and give them money.
Now, do you have amenities?
Yeah, no, I think partnering with them is the absolute best way.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, fabulous. There you go.
Okay, we stipulate to that. All right, next, Lisa.
It's like share, Lisa.
Yeah, share. Come with an idea, girl. Come with an idea.
That's okay. Well, at least I keep my sense of humor. That will be anyway. Josh kind of stole my thunder there about the Ben and Jerry's mural. So the only mural, but now I don't have a place for it. But maybe we need a pets. Maybe we need a dog, cat, pet mural somewhere. But so that was a good idea, Josh. To make a suggestion in the green area where you're already doing some things. If you're doing Unity Park and you have to keep the outside footprint of the hotel, there's another green level that's related to water runoff, natural grasses, that sort of thing. So I thought if you could combine the Unity Park, the grassy area around the hotel, and add into that maintaining the tree boxes in that same vein, you know, in the immediate adjacent area to the hotel, then maybe you could combine all that as part of, you know, the special green project. The other specific thing I was thinking about, although you're talking about the community chest, I was just going to mention there's some specific places like Sands Circle, Christ House, Community of Hope. You know, we have some very specific underfunded small nonprofits. We've got some big, spectacularly funded nonprofits here, but we do have some small ones like that. Then the last suggestion I have, public safety is a big concern, and I haven't seen an amenity that addresses public safety directly. So my suggestion for this amenity is to look at LED security lights for the alleys or some of the adjacent areas. And this is a new, you know, upcoming cutting edge item in the green area. And I know that Adams Morgan Main Street is doing some research in this area, and we may be able to provide some ideas or an opportunity. But that way we wouldn't just be talking about public safety. There really are some modern innovations. So that
I trust you're going to put those on paper.
Yes, and
okay.
Hopefully Main Street will have a public announcement.
Okay, that's all.
So let me see. The only other question I had, or the suggestion, we kind of talked about it. What I have been hearing from the people at Jubilee Housing is there are people there already looking for jobs who would like to walk to work. And there's a lot of people, Columbia Heights and the adjacent area, who obviously don't have cars but could walk, bike, or whatever. So if you combine that with the community space and tutoring, may not be practical space-wise to put a kitchen there, but you can certainly have, whether it's picking up the Good Shepherd tutoring programs that got dropped that we know Brian and other people did successfully, maybe that could be another part.
Hi, my name is John Zotoli. I want to talk about the community impact of having a fair employer. I hope that a lot of people who live in Adams Morgan will get to work at the hotel. But I want to be sure that we have a mechanism that makes sure that the employees are treated fairly. I worked most of my life, before I retired, I worked most of my life in the human resources field, and I know that it can be very frustrating to an employee to hear one thing from a boss one day and something different the next day. And our experience with the Church Hotel so far is that we are getting different messages. So I'm thinking what we should have is a mechanism to make sure that if you're working for the hotel, you're going to be treated fairly. And the best way to do that, I think, is to make sure that those who work at the hotel can organize and can speak with one voice. And there's a mechanism for making sure that it's easy for employees to organize. And I'd like the hotel to commit to that mechanism. Commissioner Lanning knows more about the specifics of this. You fill out a form saying yes, you want to be part of a union, you want to organize, and if enough people fill out that form, then you get to organize. And that's a requirement that I think, in order to have fair treatment for the Adams Morgan residents and the others in the working at the hotel, we ought to have that check the card arrangement. Thank you.
John, I would trust you to put that on paper. We will. These are the kinds of things you just brought up that are critical when you're talking about jobs. And I've talked to young people here. If you don't know the other piece of this, that's jobs versus union versus living wage. Take the time to Google living wage, see what it is, because it's critically important. It's how a lot of people get boxed out of life. When we're talking about affordable housing, if you don't make a living wage, you can't even discuss the issue. So,
Commissioner
that's
Davis,
it.
if I may, and John and I have talked about this, we will be executing a first source hiring agreement with the district. I want
Do you
to
support
know.
card check?
What's up?
Do you support card check? Will you let the people form a union if they check saying they want to?
And that's something that's really a management decision.
Well, John, that's why you need to put this on paper, because we want to be able to at least express the fact that the 16,000, 17,000 people here have some strong feelings about that, because that's something that we need to know about. Chris, come, I'll give you,
Just bouncing off of that, I mean, part of the understanding of these amenities is who is actually going to be signing off on it, right? I'm hearing we have a developer who's trying to put up money to build an actual space for a hotel. Then I'm also hearing there's a manager involved.
Yeah.
So whatever comes out in terms of a package, all the parties need to be on board, right?
That
can
be explained, but
yeah. We know right now what they're held to by the actual tax abatement, what we see.
Yeah.
In those two pieces, and Larry was kind enough to actually take a look at it today. So we have some idea of what they're there. We need to figure out if we bring anything else forward, whether it's a community chest or anything else, how do we make people accountable?
Right.
It's very, very true.
Okay.
All right, next, Gene Amato. Amato? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Gene? Oh, come forward. Yeah, come forward.
It's already been mentioned, there should be affordable housing and the right to organize and a living wage included in the amenities.
Right. And I love all, here's my problem. I'm old, and I started out back in the 60s when we wanted to burn it all down. And I was one of those. I was in Washington in 1968. Please put this on paper so that we can start to drive the process. If you don't put it on paper, you can't drive the process. There's 7 different affordable housing packets in Washington. We need to be able to talk intelligently about which ones will work best in this community. How do they work? Those are things we really have to do our homework on. So put it down, love the ideas, put them down. So that we can, even beyond the developers, we're putting together a large plan for Adams Morgan over the next 18 months. And we want things like affordable housing in here. How we get it, it's tough. The landlords every day jacking rents around here. So we have to figure out how to do it and how to lean on the city council. But for a start, this is a wonderful way for us to get started. We put some things on paper, communities come forward and said it. So put it on paper. You can send it to me as 3 sentences to start with. But we know affordable housing belongs somewhere in that amenities package. Even they have to put together one suite and give it to the poor. Me, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Watkins, Christie. Oh, that's you, man. Yeah, I thought that was.
So, thank you. So, my opinion is, or my suggestion is that we would have a, we've talked before.
Speak up, please.
No problem, Adam.
Yeah, he can speak.
Oh, but yeah. So, my suggestion is, and we've already dialogued about it, and different people in the community, and to piggyback off of what Mrs. Duperier said, if we're going to do the green energy thing, I do think, like I said, I am one of those people who I could understand affordable housing. So what I believe we should do is do green development building, because of course being able to cut down on the cost of emissions, gas, electricity, and utilities, that would actually help bring the cost down, and plus with supplies and job training and everything else, being able to incubate all of that together and then be able to more or less resolve some of the issues that has to do with housing costs rising as expeditionally as it has been now. Now, as far as what I believe, as far as on the green point is that I believe that we should have a green training facility specifically geared towards training people of different facilities as far as for financial literacy training and also job work related training programs that would specifically deal with teaching people work skills like secretarial, right, janitorial, and all the other skills that are going to be one part a necessity for the hotel, but in two part a necessity for the street cleaners, for the different projects that a lot of people can get into. Perfect example is the city just gave out a big thing about changing over 70,000 lights to solar panel green energy. So how many children could we actually have ready and up to snuff in the next 3 weeks to actually take part in a program like that to that capacity?
Go ahead.
So
yeah,
I thank you so much for your time.
And you willing to send us a little email?
I am going to have it totally written out for you.
You're the man. All right. Last speaker, Alan Jerkowitz. Alan. Oh, good Lord.
It's me.
Get the clap before he says it.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Very happy to be supporting the Adams Morgan Historic Hotel, which you should all know is in the Lanier Heights District because it's on Columbia Road. But let's not stop there. But my idea is that we should that the hotel could be sponsoring gum busters to go up and down the streets with pressure washers to clean the sidewalks, to maintain the newly renovated streetscapes. Also, I keep saying the bid. The hotel could start helping us modifying and start re-greening the area. They should be watching the trees. Tree care, we should be replanting a lot of stuff in Walter Pierce Park. Of course, we'll be taking care of the park in front of the hotel. And Marty, I think you run a good meeting.
All right. All right, you do good. And good establishment. Look, this is again what we were trying to do. Just get some ideas out here on the table. We're going to write them all up. Even though people who didn't write them up, we're going to write them up, post them on our website, send them out to the listservs and say, hey, this is some ideas as a community had. You know what? Because this will spark more ideas.
I forgot one idea.
One idea. Good. Give it.
And in the community department room, there is a room for a black box theater, and I'll be speaking for the Washington Shakespeare Company. We could have a small black box theater and bring culture to Adams Morgan. All right, thank you.
Now, again, we're not pro or con the hotel in this meeting, so I want to do that. But anybody who didn't sign up or would like to share, this is sharing time. And then we actually have some people who've been waiting patiently for discussion of their grant applications. One at H.D. Cook, which does.
Should we list our ideas?
You want to list your ideas now, or would this?
Some of you have some ideas.
No, Wilson suggested we wanted to get other people's
Let's
speak.
get the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any other, yes. Yeah, and Ernest, we haven't forgotten you guys.
I just have one question to the developers. Everything that's been said tonight has been pretty good, and I think it's going to be a positive thing here in the neighborhood. But I haven't heard anything that was mentioned. If you're going to have any entities for senior citizen, different programs, or pretty much incorporated with the youth programs that you have partnership with, how can you, because in this particular neighborhood, in this world, we do have a lot of baby boomers, and we have a lot of other people that are taking care of the kids. So, is that something that you're going to consider?
Sure. Give us some ideas.
Let me say thank you for saying that. Because one of the things that we have, all the ANC commissioners have ideas of their own, but they carry no more weight than yours. But one of them is senior services. I'd love to get a senior bus moving around this puppy. You know, talk about that electric bus. I'd love to get one rolling right around Adams Morgan, so I don't have to walk everywhere. So
Senior and handicapped?
and senior and handicap, but it's person right on time that's the kind of thing you want to have, because you got mothers, grandmothers. You always want people taken care of at all ages. Done a lot for young people. We need to do some things for other people. Any other ideas here before we go to our grant giving piece? Ernest, you had your hand up before.
Oh no, I just the Greenfoot Neighborhood Association hadn't spoken up before. Billy had made a statement at the PCT, and I just wanted to reiterate that the neighborhood association feels it's premature to offer ideas at this point, pending the outstanding issue of the zoning. Beyond that point, we will tackle that matter only on the PUD.
Exactly.
Good. On the PUD. Good.
Well, this is the
Well, that needs to be clarified.
This is the PUD, guys.
So we have till September 6th.
No. I mean, we're going to vote on this July.
We vote in July, but okay. So we would like to, if you have ideas, the bottom line is, and let's all talk grown up here for a second. Bottom line is, if you submit ideas, and we say we want these ideas in, whether this gets picked up by the zoning commission, whether they ignore us or not, they need to know what we're thinking. They need to know what we're thinking. People out in LA did a wonderful thing around the Staples Center, and they chewed the developer in the hind parts. And on the second round out there, they got everything that they were looking for, the community did. But they had to get organized. So got ideas around. We know the people, those partners are going to do all right on their end with the kids, but we need to have things that we care about. So if you got things we care about, we need to have them in the package in case the train leaves the station.
We just feel there's more important things.
All right, I mean, you guys run your own business.
Just a question about the process. I mean, this is thanks to you, Marty, it was kind of an ad hoc decision last week to have this meeting tonight. Very short notice. This is the first time the community, and there's a lot of great ideas tonight. It's the first time we've really been approached to distribute these ideas in an open way, in an open discussion. Yet, the chair of the ANC, Commissioner Reynolds, has suggested that we need to have a vote on this package in July. Now we know that the ANC meets in early September, before the zoning commission hearings begin. So I don't understand the rush to have a vote in July when we have a couple of months now to really develop these ideas to a package that could really make an impact in the community. Why are we having a vote in July on this? Is that really the process here?
Yeah. Chris, I explained this to you 15 feet on the other side of that door right
But
there.
your explanation didn't make sense to me. Why can't we have it in September before the zoning commission when we have now 2 months instead of 3 weeks to really develop the ideas that came in? These were a lot of great ideas. This is the first time we heard these great ideas. Why are we only given 3 weeks to really, this has to be agreed upon by the developers. They're going to have to look at these packages in a meaningful way and say yes or no.
That's kind of it. We can't vote on this the night before and say this is our PUD.
But
when they go from the zoning commission?
In earnest, before the vote in September, say we will agree to these things, and in September you finalize it. But to finalize it in July, when these ideas are just bubbling up.
Can I say this just in terms of negotiations? They got the juice if you wait till the last hour, right? Because they can wait you out. If we come up with a proposal and we don't think it's sufficient, we can call a special meeting still. If we just feel it's just, we came up short or whatever. So you wait till the last minute, they can wait you out and say no, 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 and we're stuck with the clock's ticking, we got to submit something, right? So,
They've waited us out so far in a compromise in sort of a height. They probably would do that again. But, so in July you're voting on the whole package. Is this what I'm understanding? In 3 weeks, we got this ANC is going to vet through all this stuff, look at the whole package, and decide with recommendations, hopefully, a whole list of recommendations.
It's not like the project started yesterday.
But this is the first time we've ever heard about these ideas.
In several years. It's not the first. It's not the first. It's
been going on.
We've been invited.
Easy,
No, Chris, you're wrong.
Excuse me. You can, whoa! Hey, but Chris, easy. All right, easy. Let me be very honest. Until it was brought to my attention in reading the legislation, the enabling legislation for tax. And you can be in first year law student, you read that first legislation, it said, if you get the tax abatement, you have to do X, Y, and Z. I did not know myself until that was brought to my attention that we did have a chance to add other amenities. And we're just getting started. I'm not quite sure that the vote in July is an up or down vote on all of the amenities. I know you can clarify that, but I would want to be able to come to the table, and I'd want this community to come to the table, the zoning commission table. I talked to the people down there. They said we can come down and present ideas galore. And that's what I'd like to see us do in a unified fashion if we have other ideas that we think are great and we don't get our homework done between now. Because Chris has a point. We may not have our homework done by then. Let's be honest. See, this is how Congress runs right now. Let's be honest. We don't need to run in here and vote, and we won't have all of our ducks in a row. So I would be hard pressed to vote on the entire package if in fact I thought there were amenities missing, such as a community chest, public, some idea about affordable housing, some strategies, some of the things I'd like to see in the amenities package, whether they fly or not. We need to have that reflection in the community.
Yeah, can somebody review backwards why it is that we have decided to do this in July? Because, can we go through the dates that we're stuck with, which we do not choose?
September 6th is the zoning commission.
September 6th is the zoning commission.
We would normally meet on September 5th, which pushes the day right before that. We'd have to draft the entire document, get it to them, submit it.
The day before, so that is obviously
these things have to be signed off on, right?
The day before, that way, like he has explained, that way we're voting on a package that gets to that where the zoning commission doesn't have a time to review anything we're deciding, and then they're rushed to.
I realize, just my experience with the zoning commission is they have 2 hearings, the 6th and the 13th. Then they don't actually decide until a couple weeks after that. They come back and discuss it.
But it looks bad if we leave everything again to the last minute to present to the zoning commission, and if we have a problem on the day of the vote, we don't have any alternative. We don't have any time left, and then they don't. That's one thing. So that's why I'm very concerned with voting on a regular meeting on September 5th to something that has to be presented the next day. They don't have time to review it, and maybe we don't get any weight or any opinion. They don't have time to look at what we think, and they go with whatever reports they've had. So that is one concern.
We can present all we want to the zoning commission. This is what we want, but it's not binding. Let's say we negotiate on, I don't know, affordable housing arrangement or whatever, but we got to, there's got to be something contractually binding within that, not just we want affordable housing and here's what we think it should be. There's nothing binding, right? The developer, we've had to, you have to have both parties agree to it. You can't do that the day before we go for the zoning commission. This has got to be flushed out.
But nobody's suggesting it's the day before. Hopefully in August. There's an ongoing conversation that can be finalized in September. It's not like, it's going to be that night we discuss it and that's what gets decided. Anyway.
But just another approach. Can I hear what your process is now? Because you have to move something out of this committee to your ANC.
I'm going to ask the chair to explain that.
Here's the important thing. According to the regulations of notice required by the zoning commission, whatever you're going to propose, according to what the zoning commission wants, whatever you're going to propose, they want it 7 days before the hearing, which kind of puts September 5th out of the ballpark. Okay? August is a month when the ANC is in recess. The commission works on consensus. I circulated options. I said, what do you want to do? Do you want to meet, we can have more meetings and then have bring the commission into a full session in August. We could do a PZT meeting on June 20th and then a special forum in July. And those were pretty much the 2 options we were left with once September 5th got taken off the table. The responses came back. 6 commissioners were definitely in favor of the June-July cycle. 1 commissioner said, I don't care, so I put them in both columns. 5 commissioners were definitely in the yes column for June-July. 1 commissioner was in both columns. one commissioner was definitely for August. So the majority was clearly in favor of the June-July cycle. And that's how we ended up with that date.
Mr. Chair, my question was the process today.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. He just. What?
Point of clarification when you're ready.
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman, I would like to see us put this off to August since we just got this piece started for a vote in late August. Would to my mind be the fairest way I see to move forward on the amenities package is for us to be able to do that. Is to do that in August. I know we're normally in recess in August. Certainly up until a week ago that seemed more than reasonable, but once you saw the response in here tonight, people had things to share. It's a possibility that we could, it'll take us 2 months, it'll take us at least 6 weeks to craft some of these ideas. So is there a possibility that you might want to consider that at our meeting?
It's up to us.
Just hold it one second. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have no objection to this. I mean, I suggested these alternatives.
I know you gave us, you did not try to push it for June or July or August. You gave us options.
So,
and,
yeah,
and it was prior to this last week's meeting where we got new information, changed our thinking somewhat about what to do. So the question is, could we?
Well, it's the will of the commission. If there's enough commissioners,
you let Lisa speak before she has something.
I just wanted you to clarify something you said earlier. I just want to repeat what you said earlier and clarify it, make sure I understood it. You said you spoke with the zoning commission, and they said that the ANC had the right to put together amenities and go in separately with certain requests that was kind of in addition to or outside the structure of this exact process.
Right, but we get the context.
Responding to what Marty said.
Yeah, but let me try to explain to you again. What I asked them and asked Larry the same question and pretty much got the same answer from both, that those things that the developers had decided to do was done in combination with other people. And I said, is that the only amenities we can have? And they said, no, you can add more amenities to it. That's what they told me.
Can I make a point of clarification? I'd like.
No, I mean, he's right. He's right. I mean, I think we're confusing 2 points. Tony, I owe you an answer from last week about the double counting issue.
Yes.
And I don't know if Chris is still here because he knows all about this as well. It was actually decided in the East Banks West End PUD case,
which was a land disposition agreement.
It's the same thing. It was the same thing. The point was that amenities that were being proffered were required under a separate agreement that benefited the developer. And Chris made the argument in the last PUD he opposed. He made the argument, and the zoning commission said that's incorrect, and they flatly rejected that argument. So the point being, now, that's the law. That's what the commission has said. The logic behind the law is that the focus is on the value of the benefit of the amenity to the surrounding community. So what the motive of the developer in providing that, whether it's required or any other motive they might have, doesn't lessen the value of that amenity. Mm-hmm. So that's why the zoning commission. Now, but Commissioner Davis, though, you're absolutely right, though. That's a whole separate matter. You're always welcome. There was nothing in the tax legislation that said these will be the amenities in the PUD.
But so couldn't you do it directly?
No, I need to respond to Marty here, not you. The land distribution agreement between the mayor, in effect, the deputy mayor for economic development, and East Bank, dealt with the swap of the land rights and the air rights to Square 37 and Square 50. And the swap, the agreement in the swap was the developer would build a library on Square 37 and a firehouse on Square 50.
Right.
And this had nothing to do with amenities for the PUD.
Right.
This is a land.
Right, but those were offered as accepted as amenities in that PUD. It's right, I got the order right here. And in the end, the zoning commission's gonna decide that. Nobody's
true.
gonna come to the ANC and say, you can't ask for this.
That's true.
The zoning commission's gonna decide. But what they said in that is, said it does not matter that they, the amenities, it does not matter that the amenities being provided as part of a contract in which the developer is receiving benefits in return, tax abatement legislation in this case. The zoning regs do not require the commission to look into the motives of an applicant, just whether what is being proffered warrants the development flexibility.
Counselor,
So
you're a very able attorney, and you can argue that, and like you say, the zoning commission will decide whether or not they think a statutory tax abatement stipulating requirements for that tax abatement overwhelms a PUD.
They will decide, yeah.
They will. I mean,
We think that the LDA is analogous to the legislation.
All right.
The
I
bond
want
process.
to, well, I have
But either way, it
three
doesn't
people
change
in, and
what
let's
we're
put this
looking for.
to bed. I'm still with the idea that fine with you, Council, with the idea of being able to get with our commissioners and think through this idea. You're usually good on moving us along in that direction. Lisa?
So, in other words, the point I was asking for clarification is, so the commission votes for XA in July, right? But what I understood you to say was they said you could continue to prepare amenities, maybe you'd rather have to agree to them, but that the zoning commission said you could continue to put amenities together and send it directly to the zoning commission. That's what I
Yes,
understand.
but understand, we're probably in July gonna vote up or down on the hotel, and if we vote up, and if I'm Matt or Brian, I'm not giving a shit. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but I mean, negotiating wise, you've lost all power, right? I mean,
So maybe I was
why are they gonna give you 25 grand for this after you've already said yes to the hotel, right? I mean, that's the leverage.
I would ask Counselor, the zoning commission has ruled time and time again that it's the responsibility of the applicant to propose the amenities.
That's
Tony,
right.
what do you think we've
But
been
the
doing?
ANC has the opportunity to.
The ANC can testify any way they want to.
Tony, that's what we've been doing
Before
for the
the
last
zoning
5
commission.
years.
Excuse me, Matt, I was addressing this to your attorney. But the zoning commission will only act on amenities that are included in the developer's application before the zoning commission.
No, the ANC can have their input into that. The ANC can request an amenity separate from what we've agreed. And the
that's
zoning
what-
commission can decide one way or another on that.
And to segue into that, that falls under the ANC Act of Great Weight. In other words,
Oh, I understand great weight, and I understand the zoning commission's concern about the ANC's position. But the zoning orders that I've seen and the testimony of zoning commissioners has always been that it's the responsibility of the developer to propose the amenities. For example, when the Italian embassy case was before the zoning commission, there were ideas presented and the zoning commission said, well, we can't act on those. The developer is responsible for proposing amenities.
What do you want to say? We are responsible for proposing
Yeah.
amenities. There's nothing in the regs that says that somebody else can't propose a public benefit or an amenity, particularly the ANC.
Right.
And I would think in this case, if we felt that the amenities as are now stated are insufficient, we would then speak with all voice.
Before you go there, you're moving back and forth across, the different packages. And from what I just heard between the discussion between Tony and the attorney, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, Marty, is that the package is the package. And the zoning commission could go with one package representing both the PUD side and the tax abatement side and call it a day if they see fit, if the zoning commission see fit. Of course, with input from the attorneys who are present.
We would argue that we would need, our great weight may not be there unless.
So you should say that because at our last meeting, Wilson described great weight and its limitations to our body.
Huge limitations.
But our great weight and why any developer, and this is only the second PUD and who knows how long in Adams Morgan, so it's not like we have tremendous experience with this. Our great weight is, do we approve of this proposal, right? That's the juice we got, the leverage you have in negotiations. And once we vote on that, you know, thinking they're going to cough up more money after they got, let's say, majority of ANC to sign off on it, it's not going to happen, right? I know you're here, and it sounds like I'm making you sound terrible, but that's negotiations. But you know, that's our great weight. Is, do we think this community benefit is great enough that it warrants our approval? This project's great enough, and we've gotten what we want out of it. That's what we need to figure out.
And Wilson, we would instruct you as the chair to come back and poll us on the opportunity to vote in August, because I want to bring this to a close, because we do have regular grantees.
I'll start over again.
You start, I appreciate that.
Can I just make one other comment? Because so many people commented on the community chest issue. And again, we don't have tremendous experience on this ANC about PUDs. The zoning commission does not like just cash transfers. They're going to frown on that. Where the hell is that money going? Who's going to oversee it? Right. You know, how long is it allowed to sit there? So, I mean, as much as it... Right,
that's fine, but I don't want you vetting them tonight. That's exactly why we're going to put these on paper, and then people can speak to it very easily, because we really want to move on.
But they like gumbusters.
Where did the handouts go that I brought?
Handouts.
These handouts, these are good.
Here's the flood process.
Yeah, can I make a comment too?
Where did the stack go?
For folks.
I think most of them, they're in the back.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Chair?
yeah, so at the last PZT meeting, there was the question brought up again about the flood process. And the Office of Planning had provided this handout, which dealt with Brooklyn, but the process is identical. So again, you know, if you want to, you know, bone up on sort of the basics on this, you know, you might find this helpful.
All right, please do that, because that's important. Last word on this, because we want to move on to our other part, grantee.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot about our grantee. I'm sorry. We have to
Okay.
No, I just wanted to clarify to folks. When we voted, remember that the ANC is in recess and normally doesn't have a meeting in August. And it's not because we all want to go out and take a vacation. You know, you all know we get paid the big bucks to do this job. But again, we are committed to service. But it is tricky to organize and coordinate, schedule something in August, because a lot of people go on vacation, and that's one of the reasons. Some of us, we didn't know if we were going to be here to then be all here at the same time in August. So that's one of the, and the other one is because I've also heard criticism from the community that we hold meetings in August in the dead of summer when nobody else is here, and that we could be voting without anybody and having the ANC voting without anybody around. I've also heard that criticism, which is why we chose the July date. At least that was some of my reasoning. It's the way that I, so just to be clear about one of the reasons why we also wanted to move this along, and then maybe have time to digest some of this and have the zoning commission look at it with time. You know,
well, you see now we're going to need a little bit more time if we're fortunate.
But we'll see if we can do it.
I want to thank developers for time in. Marty to Marty, very good. Appreciate that. We actually have a grantee here who we can give some money to.